Alright, here we are then. Finding ourselves over in a very wet IMOLA as it stands right now. Now it's gonna rain less and less as it stands right now, but with this track being soaking wet right now and a little bit over 2 hours to go, this is gonna be quite the challenge here. Now as always, welcome to the stream everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Good to see you guys here, and welcome to the Formula Racing League 9 hours of IMOLA. Very awesome to see you guys here. It's once again an absolute pleasure to be back on the mic. It's been a while. Last year it was, if I recall correctly, it was the rFactor 2 BTCC Championship back in the day, which was, well, I mean, I say back in the day, I mean last year, but it's awesome to see. It's great to be back here, and once again we're going to try make the most out of it here. And as always, I am going to put up the chat so I can read along nicely. We should be live as it stands right now. Part 3. So we should be all good to go soon. So I'm just also notifying you guys that I am in the stream on the third one. And as always, very good to see all of you. We are currently watching the kind of only battle on track together with this one, which is P2C leading over Parma RRT, Guillermo Parm. Currently also being chased by Oliver Dewey, who's on a different lap. Now, it's a name that I haven't heard in a long while, mainly because I've been so uninvolved with it, but I actually used to know him quite well. He raced in, contact between the two. That's not good. Oliver Dewey's going to end off going off, and yeah, that is never good. E21 he is able to continue, but yeah, the Vivid Global Racing driver has been with us for a while in FRL, but I also knew him from Amigos Racing League. Don't know why I couldn't think of the name so quickly, but interesting to see that he's doing well. Now currently Thomas Knoppert leading, you already know that is not unusual. We've still got a couple penalties left to be served, and I wonder mainly how this is going to be going then all the way through. Jesse Janssens, some of the newer names for me. Doesn't mean they haven't been here a while, it just means that I have been not so involved with these battles as they stand right now. I'm still adjusting the volume on the fly here, so might see some alt-tabbing once in a while, but I think this should be a little bit better. Now, if it's not, please let me know, and I'll be happy to fix it, of course. But I need the feedback from you guys to make sure that I can keep that up. It still seems a little bit on the higher side, which surprises me, to be honest, but I'm just gonna lower it a little bit. I think like this should be fine. I think this is good to go then. But yeah, we'll be seeing how this goes. I mean, ooh, big spin Erik Dreyer as soon as we swap to him to go to esports drivers. Now, note that some of the liveries aren't working for me. That's a shame, really, but I have actually made sure to synchronize them, so it's not going to be that. But I got some errors with some of them, and I don't exactly know how to fix those, which is a shame, really. But, well, we just got to treat it for what it is, you know. Here is Mickey Taylor for performance. Grabbing one of the default liveries. Does it seem like they're all not working? Yeah, all the custom ones are not working. Okay, I'm going to put it on the BRB screen. I'm going to try and resync, okay? Because this is definitely not working. So I'll be right back in just a second. Hoping that fixes the issue.
just calling to say I've
put him up to sync again. It hasn't really worked out so greatly. So what I'm gonna do, just keep going with the stream, and then once they're all synchronized, I will just rejoin the game. Just a second. We've got a little bit over 2 hours to go as it stands right now, and it's the usual names up at the front here. So obviously, you have so much time. It tends to just kind of, you know, even each other out. You know, all the good drivers will eventually end up on top, no matter how chaotic it gets. Sure, a couple exceptions maybe, but generally speaking, you'll find them where you expect them to be. Look at this big field right here. So many drivers involved into this one. All the blue flags are obviously out. And oh, that is Jay's right. I think he had a little bit of contact there with Zeitz, who is also a little bit further up in the race, if I recall correctly. Indeed, he is in P6 for now. So he was definitely getting blue flagged on the way through. Good day on the outside. It's obviously Thomas Knoppik, the race leader, also involved. So you don't want to disturb him that much. And he seems to be managing just now. Oh, there's contact. And it's Jay's right that has to just kind of go off and, you know, faces the wrong way for a second there. Sander Balastra still close to Johannes Theising, who is currently in the 4th position here. So not quite on for a podium right now, but the gap is actually not even that big. It's 17, I think. Okay, the Bears were back. I had lost connection there, internet-wise, apparently. That gives me a good time to check if deliveries are done so I can try and load them in. So I'll be right back.
calling to say I... It appears that the issues have been resolved and I am now good to go. It seems like the majority of the deliveries has actually joined in now, so it seems to be the program didn't do well. In the meanwhile, all is still okay. And also just want to point out, this is the highest rated AM at the moment. Carl van Hoorn. P17, 8 positions ahead of Fragerwood, was currently in P2 in that class. Impressive considering there's roughly 2 minutes between the two. It's just really, really well done. The Astro Racing team, of course, is a team that we know from very long ago. They have been so incredibly well. And, well, obviously, as a little bit of a Dutchman myself, I do quite enjoy seeing them on the racetrack. Now, here is Miroslav Kuchta. We see some drivers going for a pit stop here, so we've got a couple drivers in. Obviously trying to, you know, make the most out of this. I wonder exactly how this is going to be going. There's a little bit over 2 hours remaining now, as 5 minutes have passed yet again. Craig Law looking to get involved here, very close to Melke Gardby. This is actually for position 2 as they come on towards the straight. Now, obviously the majority of the drivers here, they are not necessarily expecting themselves to, you know, move up or down that many positions. The weather's maybe not like it, but, you know, this is still impressive stuff what we're seeing here. And, well, we've got quite a long way to go still. And in the meanwhile, I am now caught up with chat, so feel free to come say hi. It's good to see you guys all here. It's what I love doing the most. So we'll be seeing how this goes all the way through here. Obviously, it's mainly going to be in the light here. Sure, it might get a little darker towards the end, but as it stands right now, it's most likely not happening. Gustav Kuchta still trying to get up close here to Tommaso Pagliai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. He's currently hanging on in P14. So that's a decent result so far, but nowhere near the top 10 as for now. And plus he's got a 5-second penalty that he's going to have to do a little bit later on too. So we'll be seeing how that goes. Now we do see more drivers coming in. Craig Law's into the pits now. He's going to lose at least the one position, but more are going to follow. So that's all going to come down to how the stints in the end come. But we have seen many players in the pit now. Emil Wilczynski, but also Ben Zeitz, who's just come in, and more drivers joining in soon. Looking for some more positions to be gained there. We saw a driver off track right behind. I'm not exactly sure who that was, but not a great look regardless here. This is Jacco van der Zaag. P30, pre-30 it is. The Mustang GT3, a beautiful machine. Definitely not necessarily the fastest car in the game, but this it didn't used to be. Maybe in the wet it might be good. It used to be quite powerful. That's what I remember most. And actually used the Aero models of the BMW M4 GT3. They actually didn't have a choice up until later on that was rectified. When they were launched, that was together with the Nürburgring update. Or well, when the Nordschleife was added rather. Not necessarily an update, just an entire new track to the game. There's still one loved by many. Ooh, that is quite tight there for Alessandro Balestra. Obviously, he doesn't really have a reason to be pushing this hard regardless, right? So, the one lap down with the leader right behind, but the driver behind him is still half a minute away. Now, to give you an idea of how long these pit stops usually take, they are around 1 minute and 10 seconds for the most part. So it's all gonna really come down to, well, how much fuel can you use and how much of those tires are left at the end of your stint. Because obviously if you manage to save on them, you're gonna have to do less pit stops, as long as you keep in mind the minimum driver time. Ryan Chashir taking over the position from Quentin Magies, was actually quite keen on giving it up, it appears. Maybe he's waiting for him after a little bit of a contact between the two. Now Van der Zaag's actually chasing. He is currently a lap down. So actually they are the drivers closest to each other in terms of order, but Jacco van der Zaag is supposed to do another lap, so they can't really get to him just as of yet. But it seems like he's picking up pace. He seems to be rather consistent, which is good to see. And here's Stefan Sauvage. That's one of the liveries that doesn't load. Quite aggressive over the curbing. Now, the McLaren itself doesn't really like that. That's not a BMW M4 in that case. It looks like they will be able to continue. Obviously, still the blue flags out for Oliver Dewey coming in behind. Nico Dobos in the Toyota Esports car. The Slovakian driver, currently P9. Hoping to get a top 8 out of this one, but it's got to get 32nd to this man, Arno de Lasses, who's currently driving for the QRT Esports team, is handling the car wonderfully in the last corners of the circuit, making his way up to the main straight again. Now, to give you an idea as of how the laps are standing, it is currently Thomas Knoppek with the most laps done, with the second player now into the pit, Johannes Price. So that might actually be a lap soon for him, because Thomas Knoppek is about to cross that again. No, he's going to come in, so it's not going to happen. So that is 195 laps already. So we're getting close to 200 laps of Imola here. Marco Santa, P36. Out of P37, still driving. On lap 179, so quite a big catch-up would need to be required in them to be any competitive whatsoever. So that's not going to be an easy one. That is most definitely the case. And I wonder specifically how they're going to be dealing with that traffic management now, because at this point you are a low priority driver, and anything you're in the way of the other drivers that are faster. We see that the best lap currently has been set now by Sasha Mayatini, who set it 2 laps ago, and is looking to pick up the pace. So in the wets he's actually confirming quite a bit of pace here. That's the best lap time overall. Ruslan Slachkov in P21. Very bright pink livery on that Mustang. Seems to be a popular choice for this series, which I didn't really expect to be seeing. Now, it's been a while since I've been on ACC myself, and we do see him going a little bit wide. That would be in terms that I use in iRacing quite often, an incident point. And that's a little bit of an off track. Luckily, he doesn't lose too much with it. Hey, Alan Brown, how's it going, mate? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. It's been a while since I've been on the ACC comps in general, let alone for Formula Racing League. So it's awesome to be back, mate. Definitely great to see. Sebastian Butcher is 1 second away here from his target. That is the driver in P5. They're very close by, but... And then we also have Michael Meuten, who's actually not even that far away. I mean, there's like 2 or 3 seconds between them, so they're actually fighting for position. Yeah, it's been a while. They haven't been asked much, but always open for it. I have plenty of free time at the moment as I'm in between graduation and finding a job, so... car number 101 has gone off. That is David Martins. Let's have a look at what happened then. Is it an unforced error? At the moment, it's looking likely. Outside curbs evaded nicely. You don't want to be taking too much curb in the wets. General, and then braking point seems okay. Oh, he just gets onto the green. A very slippery part right there and finds himself facing the wrong way, unfortunately. He is able to continue. So it's no big deal. Now, at this point, you can afford to have incidents like this. If you can avoid them by any means, you should. Let's see how the rest is going to be going. Then we still see Sebastian Dutcher was now actually lost roughly a second here to Tasca. So he's made a small mistake all the way up there. And I must say, I love the team that he's currently driving for. Crown-X Cat Stream lovers absolutely love that. And it's a beautiful livery too. One of the few Lamborghinis that we actually have on track, and also the best Lamborghini that we have on track right now. P6 with the next one being a P28. So only 2 cars actually still alive that are in the Lambo. Benjamin Eck has taken over. And that's one of the faster drivers from the FRL teams. Obviously, Thomas Knoppek is a driver that we know is very, very quickly, and even he tends to be miles ahead of some of the other FRL drivers. Let's see if Benjamin Eck can lead his team to victory. He's just got into the stint. He's now finding himself in P1 with more than a minute to spare. Quite the result so far for the Formula Racing League team, as they're looking to win out their own competition, the 9 Hours of Imola. A beautiful circuit that's definitely still on my list of visiting. I actually wanted to go here. That was during the WEC weekend that's about to come up, but I believe in April. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do so. I had a look at it, saw the tickets came out, and then I was like, well, why don't I give this a go? Now, why don't I see if I can make it over there? And it all looked promising. Then I realized, well, hotel prices have dropped quite a bit since then. And then later on, look again, and I see the prices have doubled or nearly even tripled. And at that point, it wasn't really worth it for me. So that's a shame. Would have loved to see it, but guess it's not happening anytime soon. Ryan Cheshire representing Big Brain Racing. Now that's a name that I haven't heard in a while. So we go sub 2 hours here for the first time. Keep in mind that these drivers, the majority of them at least, have been driving every single day basically to practice for this. No, a big crash, and Davey Hill not able to avoid it. Now that's a name that I recognize from Amigos Racing League. Scottish veteran finds himself involved in an incident that wasn't his fault by any means, but yeah, they've been practicing for these events quite a little bit, of course, and to make it even worse, you know, the weather is really not helping here. And also, add on top of that, what I think is also noteworthy is that obviously some of these drivers have started racing in the early morning and are still going at it here. So sure, you get some breaks in between. It's not as tiring as, for example, a race that we have seen before, right? At a Spa 24-hour, for example. That's obviously way more difficult to do. But still, let me tell you, this is not easy. And all these beautiful GT3 cars, it is just a big achievement that they're already here in the first place, right? The fact that we've still got 37 drivers in this, or 37 teams rather, of course, is just really impressive. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly how many teams have started here. Still, Crank goes out of the pits, loses a couple more positions. Cody Besselink goes by. I was focusing on this man here. Still with Vivid Global Racing. Used to be in the number 555 blue car back in the day. It's good to see him still racing now. I know that he's dipped into iRacing for a little bit too. But now he's back on here, which is good to see. Navy Hill seems to be handling the track just nicely in the wind. Obviously, over there in Scotland, tends to be quite cold and rainy, so expecting that he's going to be doing well this race. Awesome to see, really. Yeah, also just gonna quickly post the YouTube link out. You know, we have some of the drivers obviously involved into multiple communities, so I've actually just posted them. The fact that he's driving, let's see if we see some support going the way. This man, Thomas Taska, still currently in P5. He's handling it nicely and is actually facing the Aston Martin right ahead of him. Look at how absolutely beautiful these cars are. And obviously Cody Besselink, well, not going to give way, just going to be responsible and predictable. Let Thomas Taska find his way around. Obviously, he's not going to actively defend it. That would only hurt the both of them. Sure, there's some flashing. I think we saw it just now. But he doesn't need to move out here. Not like in Formula 1. I think this is going to be the move up the inside. Indeed, well done. Traffic management at its best. Cody Besselink now can just hang on in the slipstream, try and see if he can match the times of the faster drivers ahead of him. Looking at the weather report, we see that the rain is going to be a little bit less, but then it's immediately going back to pouring rain as it looks like, so not going to be great for now. We're not seeing it dry up anytime soon. Hey Slam, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. While I was busy looking at the weather report, I have now seen that Ryan Cheshire was serving a drive-through penalty. That was a shame really to see go that way. Cost you quite a bit of time. And just look at how Leon Kren, the Flyby Esports car, is stunning livery, by the way. That has to be one of my favorites on the grid out there today. Notice how he can just eat the curbs. And for incredibly stable. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of how it drives. I personally drive the 296. If I ever get around to sim racing, that is nowadays. Even if GT3s aren't your thing, well, you have some more to offer. We also do our Factor 2 championships here. Currently in the off season. But we have had some great seasons in the BTCC cars. Also some good Nürburgring races there. Nordschleife. Together with AWRC Club, which you're also free to join. They do weekly stuff, but also Enduro rallies. So if you're into that, make sure to go check that out. This is Andre Baran. Doing well in P15 here. Basically trying to stay in the top half, which is doing quite nicely. And obviously he is a professional in terms of split, with the majority of the field being exactly that right now, or maybe we've just seen more DNFs on the AM side of things. I mean, it's not unlikely to think about. So overall, it's been going well. There's a little bit of a lag spike. I lose connection again. Okay, so I seem to be having some internet issues as they are. It seems to be very unstable. We're back into the server at a minimum. It's good to see. There we see Sebastian Lucker making a small mistake. Doesn't cost him a position per se, and Benjamin Eck will just continue on his way. He's actually lost 6 seconds in the stint so far to Brendan Geitz, who's currently in the second position for his team. So they're ever slightly creeping up, but at this pace, they're not going to get close. I'll actually try and close that gap. So it's going to be not so easy left here. And here we have Leon Kren. Look at how much that BMW is sliding right there. He's trying to overtake the driver ahead of him, Shlashkov. Currently like half a second between the two. Doesn't seem like he has the pace just yet. He's actually losing out, and he's slipping and sliding all the way through. It's not a good look here. Obviously the weather is something they have prepped for. You all know that. Even then, it can definitely catch you off guard. This is Sasha Metanini. Mayatini, I believe. I'm pronouncing that right. Adel Sport P3 for now. One of the Italian teams that we have out there. It seems to be that the Italian drivers are usually quite popular on this platform, which obviously makes a lot of sense as being a Kuno's game, Italian developer. Which, of course, for now is mainly paying attention over to Assetto Corsa Evo, the successor to regular Assetto Corsa, where it all started, which is getting some very mixed reviews for the time being. I've seen some negative and some positive comments about it so far, but I haven't really tried it myself yet. You know, it is just in early access. I think they ran out of funding at some point, and they needed to release the game as is. You see Tomo Vinya getting into the car. Almeida is out. And now Krenz definitely closed that gap here. It is Slachkov that is trying to defend this position the hardest here. Listen to the onboard of the Ford here. Just fighting for his life right now, and Kren would just love to get up the inside at some point, but don't know if exactly he has got that going for him. I see blue flags for the driver behind, so you need to be careful when you fight here. And oh, there is that gap being closed, and now he's all the way up there. That is pretty uncomfortable here. And the Aston Martin wants to get by. He's losing the time here. That is Schiebel in the car. He's obviously trying to go a long way here. To P13 right now. Trying to escape from the driver in P14, which is this man, Nicola Martigoni. 4 seconds between the two, so you can see why he has to hurry. Looks like he hasn't gone by yet, and yeah, this is frustrating for him too, right? And he can do all about it if he wants, but there's the mistake from Slachkov. They both go by. He was waiting for a mistake, and that is exactly what happened now. Ruslan Slachkov finds himself now down in P22. It's a good overtake, very successful, forced the other driver into an error. Tristan Sleutel has taken over the number 63 car. 24th position. Astor Racing team is going to be feeling quite okay with how it's going. But considering the R Pro split, I do think they should set their standards a little bit higher perhaps. Obviously there's only a couple laps between them, right? They're on 198. The leaders are on 204, but they're the only one on the lead lap right now. Other drivers yet to follow along, with Benjamin X still having over a minute on guides. And that gap basically, since I last talked about it 10 minutes ago, it's only dropped by 0.7, so this should just be fine. And then it's all going to matter, well, are they going to double stint here? What's the goal towards the end? I'm expecting these stints to go for roughly an hour, maybe a little bit less, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Because obviously you need to take care of your fuel at some point. Now you're spending a little bit less fuel in the wet usually. You can't go as aggressive on the exits, for example. So in the end, it should work out in your favor here if you are leading. But even then, the conditions can catch anyone off guard every single moment. But so far, surprisingly clean. Even from the amateurs who, you know, you could expect to make a small mistake here or there. But no, it's been clean. This is the driver currently in last position, Mike Wilms, representing FRL, so they're actually leading, but they're also all the way back here. This is a team using the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. Car that isn't on the grid too many times this time around. It seems to be a BMW, McLaren, and Aston dominated field. Now that's actually quite interesting to me, because I didn't expect so many Astons to be up there. BMW is currently doing the best overall, I'd say, in P2, 3, 4, and 7 respectively. It's the Aston Martin of Benjamin Eck leading here. And look at that. Shall you see that Taron Schiebel's actually picked up a drive-through penalty? That's not good, because that's going to allow Martigoni and Baran to both go by, perhaps, if they go and serve that. So that's going to be quite the painful penalty right there. You can just see how much that car is sliding into the braking zone. It's going left, right, and center. It doesn't care about where it needs to go. Tristan Sleutel now finding that connection to Fragerwood. Now sure, Fragerwood is a amateur driver here. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know how to give up a fight. I mean, keep in mind, they're in second right now. They're absolutely killing him. Even though the gap to Hofmann's is quite big here, as perhaps was to be expected. I see both of them just trying to do as good as they can. Justin Slaughter then wants to go for the move down the inside. Not able to do it in the first try. I'll have to try just a little bit later. And obviously Frank Woods to defend, allowed to defend all he wants. And for overall position, he definitely should care about this. She was serving as drive-through. And as expected, we see Barra, Martignoni, but also Savini going by. I think he's going to get out of it just in time for Koglachev, who is still all the way back here. He's currently finding himself just so far back right now on this straight. And indeed, Archibald well up to pace again. He's managed to keep the car going and is immediately going to dive down the inside here of Sauvage. But they try and go all into it together. Risky game to play. You also see the Ferrari of FRL joining in the back of the field now. At the moment we don't see moves just yet here, but obviously that could just change a little bit later on. Here we see Ruslan Selashkov again. Craig Woods more than a minute down, so as of now he's mainly worried about traffic, I suppose. As goes for the majority of the drivers here. No one's really getting close into any duels anymore, with the exception of one fight between Michael Moten and also Tasca right behind. But that's actually quite an interesting fight, as that is actually the fight for P4. They've got quite a long way to go then still. At this point you kind of know that the remaining hours are basically still usually a big race, right? 1 hour and 45 minutes. It's usually considered a long race in ACC standards. Now I'm glad that the server actually allows even for races like this. It's quite awesome to see. With even 24 hours being possible now. I remember mainly 24 hours of the Nordschleife was an awesome one. I definitely enjoyed when it comes to that one. And I believe it was 10 hours of the Watkins Glen. I'm not entirely sure it was. Maybe it was 6. That was good fun with quite a wide variety of commentators on the mic. Obviously, we have seen this race started by Chrome Next, the man himself. And then we've had Autocam for quite a little bit of it. You know, that's awesome to see, you know. Definitely getting up there, and the track's still very wet. I wonder how the conditions were when they just started, but I actually haven't talked to Chrome Next that much over the time, and we're finding ourselves over doing quite well. All things considered. Now, obviously, this is a mental challenge as well as a physical one. Now, everything needs to align. Your car needs to be in good shape. You need to be in good shape. You need to be very comfortable with your sim gear here. Obviously, that's also something that we've seen over times, right? We've seen, I remember, I think it was during the Daytona 24 on iRacing, where I saw a couple drivers getting killed by just wheel disconnects and things like that. I believe that was actually happening to Jimmy Broadbent back then. In early January, that is. Now this is the opener of the FRL Endurance calendar, which is filled with good prizes here. Now I've already had a look through the calendar as it stands right now. The Enduro is something that goes all the way throughout the year. And therefore, one bad race isn't the end of it. In fact, it's rather the opposite, actually. So now you've got a long way to go. And they know this too. as it stands right now. 9-hour IMOLA. Definitely the biggest event done so far. Has to be IT Endurance 2025. Starting off with a banger though. 9-hour IMOLA is the first. And afterwards we have a 6 hours on an American track, Indianapolis, and that's not one that you see every day. Followed up by 8 hours of Bathurst, 12 hours of Silverstone, a 6-hour at Spa, ending in June as it stands right now. But that is just the part one. It's quite cool to see, especially when you see so many of these drivers join in a little bit later again, right? They, you know, keep all the way through. That's awesome to see. So this is as much as we have right now, but we're gonna have some more races involved later on. They haven't been announced yet as far as my knowledge goes, so here's to see what they're gonna follow up with. My prediction would be something along the lines of a 24 hours of the Nürburgring Nordschleife again. That was quite the popular track, and I'm expecting something maybe around at Donington. Donington obviously being the kind of home track of Formula Racing League at this point. Awesome track located in the East Midlands. Very different environment than this, of course. As always, I see the chat. You guys are all welcome to join in on the fun. If you do so, also let me know if there's a certain player that you want me to spectate. I'll be happy to bring that over. This is Drew Burakovsky. P28 as it is right now. It's been going for about 26 minutes now, and my guess is that he's at least going to continue to the 1 hour mark and then either go for a double stinter or drive it home. I guess we'll see what's going to happen. I for sure can't wait to see how this will be going in the end. This is Ryan Cheshire. Had lost a little bit of time due to a drive-through and is now finding himself behind the drivers that has been fetching off for quite a long while. Fending off, rather, I should say. At the moment, not really getting here. He's got a long, long way to catch up here. Here's Brandon Geitz. Close to Burakovsky. Obviously, he is in P2 and he's trying to chase down the leader of the race right now, Benjamin Eck, in P1. He's had a solid race ahead of him so far. Sure, he's going to see that gap come down to maybe a little bit later on, but even then, how much is that really going to matter? They're so far apart. He is losing seconds, perhaps, over a stint, so it's just never going to be enough to get even close, unless, of course, we see a mistake being made by the FRL guys, but that's not something that I expect to see. Have been very good all along this entire time, which I think only massive respect to it, right? It's not easy. Yeah, Grant trying to get by a backmarker right now. Some drivers from nationalities also that we haven't seen in a long while, or you know, drivers that we see from a little bit uncommon countries perhaps. This, for example, is Pavlos Vetlugins from Latvia. Also driving in the Assetto Racing team, so they've actually got international. Didn't know that. I thought they were convinced. I was convinced that they were fully Dutch, but turns out I wasn't mistaken. So here, Jimmy Noelsen from Norway. It's a name that I particularly recognize because he was one of the first adopters of the Ford Mustang GT3. I remember when it just came out, they were one of the few drivers that was actually daring enough to take on the challenge of driving this thing around, which isn't easy. And just look at what a beautiful machine that is. Now, I'm no big on muscle cars. Most definitely not, but it's just such a good looking car. We see Martignoni going by nicely. Space being given. Now we have a battle on our hands here for P32. It is Jaco van der Zaag currently chasing the driver ahead of him, that being Alexis Breton, is trying to escape here. On the straight, he's getting such a tow. Not daring to go side by side just yet. Doesn't seem to be worth it. And Alexis Breton holds on nicely. Actually, if I put up this screen, you're going to be wondering, well, what is this? Well, I just wanted to point this out real quick. Here are the teams, first of all. Some 2-driver teams, some that have quite a few more. But look to the handicap screen. This is interesting. So basically, for people that don't know how this works, this is what we call a balance of performance, balance of power, if you will, depends on who you ask. But essentially a BOP. And the BOP basically allows for the field to be a little bit more equal by adding or removing weight to a car. As you can see here, for example, we have the Lamborghini, which tends to be a little bit better than average on this track. So they've given it 2 extra kilos, which is, well, not that much. But for example, look at the McLaren, which has 11 extra kilos, and that's quite a number right there. It's fun to check that out, you know, see how the field has decided. Usually they use the LFM balance of power performance, but that might change also per competition. But yeah, therefore they're ensuring that cars are all equal, and you usually see that the cars that are a little bit easier to drive are bopped a little bit heavier, because they already have that advantage here, regardless of driving the easier car around. But let me tell you, no car is easy with this weather. Alexis Breton had to give it the position. The Mustang now looking to escape. He's still pretty close, but that's because Sleutel's in the way now. And there is, ooh, a little bit of a loss of control. It somehow keeps the car going. I don't know how he's managed to save that one. That is quite a move right there. Quite spectacular. Manages to make it work somehow. Here we have the battle for P26. Quentin Magnias together with Cheshire, where now goes to take that position. Benjamin Eck also involved, but he is the race leader, so he wants to get by as soon as possible. And the traffic here is really not working in the favor of Benjamin Eck, I have to admit. Christopher Frost, I don't think that he's much slower than Brendan Gates. In fact, I refuse to believe that. But what I did see is, despite them having similar fastest lap times, we do see that Brendan Gates just seems to be dealing with the traffic much easier. He isn't being held up by battling drivers, as you can see. Well, not right now, but we have seen a Benjamin Eck, for example, was stuck behind 2 drivers battling, and they're not going to go out of the way immediately. Magnias looking to close that gap to Cheshire still, but it seems like the Brits got the pace as he's looking to escape right here. No moves happening as of yet. Let's have a look at the Portuguese team of T&W Racing, the Movinha. Not usually that you have such bad weather in the south of Europe. There's yellow flags out. What has happened then? It is the number 463, if I recall. It's been cleared pretty instantaneously here, so I assume that it has been fixed rather easily. Maybe also 6-3. Just a slow to, yeah, I think it was, but it could have also been 463. They are quite close when it comes to proximity here. .463 is a little bit further back, so that would have been Drew Burakovsky, one of the American drivers on the grid. Not a lot of them in this race. This Lamborghini's been tagged up quite a little bit here, so I'm assuming that it was him that had the contact then. If that's the wrong assumption. If somebody's seen it happen, let me know. That front bonnet looks like it has taken a small hit, and that's obviously going to slow him down aero-wise. Marco, you could see that this man wants to get a move out, and it seems like Telmo Vigna has gone by with ease. Gaining another position here, making sure they keep making progress. A little bit ahead of them, we see David Martis, who's currently about 20 seconds clear. No big fights happening here at the moment. We still see that this man, Thomas Tasca, is looking to get closer to Meuten, was actually still fighting for his life to stay ahead here. Onto the main straight, we're gonna see a slipstream. I think the gap is just too big to really get involved. Obviously, the Aston isn't necessarily the car with the highest straight line speed. It's not like the Mustang, for example, which is incredibly quick on the straights. It's a little bit more light and agile. It's from my experience when I last drove the car, but it's been a while. I'm definitely not an Aston driver. It's always fun, though, to see all this variety of cars, though. But we're not really seeing any off-meta cars. I remember as well as a Lexus, and that's always good fun to see because they're amazing cars, right? They're awesome to see on the track. The NSX is something that I'm missing too, but they're not really competitive and therefore not really picked much, which is a shame because obviously teams are trying to get the most out of their cars and therefore don't want to limit themselves to an older gen or perhaps a car that's considered outdated or just inferior in some way or another. In P11, we find a Vesta Sport car, Tim Sabe. Currently doing well to defend this position. The driver behind is not something he's worried about. They are on different laps, but we do see on 3 seconds behind it is Martignoni. Would love to close the distance. At the moment, not there yet here. At the moment, we haven't seen much changes here for any position, really. Seems to be that most of the drivers here are kind of driving in no man's land as we've dipped below 1.5 hours left of racing time. See some more drivers now getting ready for their last stints. It's Arnaud de la Sus currently in P7 with a new driver behind him, Lucas Verk. Flyby Esports cars. They've actually got 2 cars lined up, perhaps even a third. I haven't discovered it yet, but could very well be. Anton Pavliuk now in the Ferrari 296. Classic colors, red, and also a little bit of yellow. And I must say, it looks absolutely stunning. Saba's gonna let him by, and therefore they can continue. Because even though they're 2 positions apart, they're actually finding themselves on different laps right now. 214 to 213 respectively. With the current race leader, Benjamin Eck, on 216 already. So, yeah, the numbers keep growing and growing. This man, Marco Casasanta, team of endurance car, currently in second last. One of the Italian teams that we have on the grid today. Now, as always, for the people that are new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe to the FRL channel. For each 1.5k, which is a pretty impressive number. Obviously, if you want to get into the fun, you should know exactly where to go. It's pretty simple. You have a Discord channel. You can be found on the SimGrid. And if you want to participate in one of the events, that's where you got to get started. This is how it currently stands then. Or they're not changing much here. We see Cody Besselink in P19 back in the car. Ahead of him is Tigo Hofmans, also in an Astro car, but obviously these two very different teams in different splits even. Still driving very close by, so it looks like they are quite equal in pace-wise, so that's pretty good to see. Looks like Tasca is actually gaining time here onto Meuten now finally. This is how it stands right now. It is Martignoni P13. Tasca so close by, and he's going to be trying to make Meuten's life as difficult as he possibly could. Doesn't quite seem to have the pace for now. We see the losses coming in. Berg and Nico Dobos both winning positions because of it. But depending, of course, on whether they still need to come in or not, we might see that once again going the other way. As you can see, the track is actually down to damp now, and the rain is getting a little bit less extreme now. So we definitely see that the track's going to be drying up here, with some drier lines starting to form on the track. And that is particularly interesting, because that means that eventually we're gonna get to see that very dangerous overtake. We're gonna see that dry line. Tasca knows he needs to follow along here. Then maybe at the end we will see some slicks coming out. At the moment, of course, it is still very much wet weather tires here, but it will go from damp to greasy if the weather keeps going like this rather soon. Then maybe around the 1 hour mark, we're going to see that it's almost dry. I mean, according to the weather forecast as it stands right now, there is 30 minutes left to go, and it will still be decreasing the rain by then, so it won't be clear as it stands. And that is something that the driver's going to have to deal with, but it's also going to put you into some dilemmas regarding tire choice. So I'm interested to see how that one's going to go. See Seba losing out the position here. Martignoni's come by. On-track overtake. One of the few battles still actively developing. As you can see now, it's almost dry. If you look at some parts of the track, you can see that there's barely any rain coming down. But then if you swap to another camera, they're getting worse. But keep in mind that these tires are currently pumping around liters of fuel at once. Look at this. Sasha Maitini is driving rather slowly, apparently, because Meuten and Tasca are both catching up. And that is particularly interesting, because that means we might have a freeway battle here for the third position this late on in the race. As it stands, it doesn't look like they're getting any closer though, but they most definitely are. And these three looking to go the distance here. Obviously 1 hour and 20 minutes to go. And I have a feeling that this developing track, or rather undeveloping track, is going to play quite a big part into this one here. The gap currently is half a second between the drivers. Tuscan now a little bit slower than the rest. Still able to hold on, still able to watch him spectate. If they can fight it out, maybe he'll be the one going by at the end. You know how that's how it usually goes. Two drivers battling very hard and the other driver's just too far away to really do anything. And then suddenly they're up there. There it is, Michael Meuten now so close by. And here's also whether you got a choice. Whether you got to choose how hard are you willing to fight into this. You can fight really, really hard. Or you could take it easy, hope for a mistake, or maybe take an approach that is more tactical than the others. In the end, it's all going to come down to driving fast, and that's exactly what all these drivers are doing. Time and time again. Even though it says that over 30 minutes of rain are still coming by, it is going to be less and less rain every single time, but it's not going to be dry yet. So I wonder if we're going to get the condition down to greasy sometime soon, which is obviously one step below damp. So you go from wet to damp to greasy. There's plenty of rubber on the track at this point, with so many drivers fighting all at once. And also for such a prolonged time, it feels like. Looks like we're not seeing any changes yet. There is the overtake, and indeed, it will be Tasca going by Meuten. A minute and an hour and 20 minutes to go. The German driver has had to concede here. Tasca goes right by, but just look at these three, man. They're so close. This is definitely one of those battles that could go all the way. There it is, another driver going off. That is one of the Formula Racing cars. It was a 296. Meuten now makes his way by Tasca again. Maybe Tasca a little bit too cautious with the drivers going off. BMWs are back leading again. And oh man, what a battle this is. And all these drivers here are going to be incredibly tired by the end of it. But so they are holding on. Meuten then down the inside, perhaps. Doesn't seem to have the space to go side by side, but he's willing to go around the long way. But there's just no space for it just yet here. So the number 7 car is going to be holding on just a little bit longer. But look at the exit here. That is such a good exit. It goes too wide, and that is now 2 feet into the grass. So you know what that means. Indeed, it is once again going to be the Aston Martin that goes by. This is definitely one of those battles for the ages that gonna remember at the end of the season thinking, well, what if we won this? What if we lost this? How different would things be looking? Because the pace right now of these drivers are all so similar, and just neither player is really allowed to escape or go for the overtake. They're all just kind of driving along, waiting for a mistake to happen. Meuten obviously was making that mistake earlier. He found himself going off track, with then Tasca able to capitalize, went down the inside, took the opportunity, because that exit was just not that great from the German driver right there. And now they're getting involved with more drivers that are currently being lapped. Right? We have the driver, for example, all the way on the right here is currently second to last, has no business here. But still, look at this, Yeti. McLaren's going to have to turn in at some point. And that allows the driver that is currently ahead, Meatini, to kind of just escape. And that is sometimes how you can use that traffic to your advantage, with the Aston Martin still following along. It's Michael Meuten that definitely got off the worst. He found himself driving slowly. And as I see that now, what has happened to Alex Sackdal? He has gotten a 5-second penalty. Then, as I saw it go up, 10 seconds penalty. Not a good look, and that 10 seconds alone won't get him anywhere, but you know, it does allow Martignoni to get up just a little bit closer. But once again, look at this now. We see that Jakob van der Zaag is going to get out of the car most likely, or he's going to go for the double stint. And we do see now that these drivers up front are all still together. Maybe not as close as they used to be, but maybe we'll see some change-ups a little bit later on. How is this looking here? Looks like Martini has got that gap for now, and there's no one getting closer. Trust me, we have such a battle, you will be awake. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not easy, you know. It's definitely something people underestimate. I am going to be doing a 2.4-hour race tomorrow in iRacing with 2 people, and that alone to me feels like a challenge sometimes. Now, I'm in decent shape. Ooh, look at that. Something makes a small mistake. Yeah, Zach also wants to get by. But, you know, even that feels like a challenge now. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. 9 hours of driving straight, and teams of 2, some of them even. That's 4.5 hours per person. Plus, of course, there's qualifying too. It is just absolutely mental to me. We see that Simona Savini has come into the pits now for Falcon Racing Academy. He's going to get out of the car, be replaced. But that does allow, for example, Stepan Kloklachev, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. It is going to be P16 as he moves up 1 in the championship. And Justin, yeah, you are absolutely correct. I mean, sim racing in general, it is... You know what I was mainly surprised about? Now, I'm in no way, you know, someone that goes to the gym often, or, you know, somebody that is in particular good shape. But I've had people tell me, like, you know, they've gotten sore after sim racing, you know, their muscles hurt. And I was like, oh, they gotta be joking, right? This can't be true. And then I remember I did my first street stock race, it was, on iRacing. It was ovals. These things didn't have any traction control or... you know, anything really. So it was the pure hardcore sim racing experience. No power steering either. I remember after 70 laps, that was like 20 minutes by the way. I was like, Jesus, everything hurts so much. So when I got into it, I definitely underestimated that. I know exactly what it feels like. And then, you know, even in a race like this, which is also a lot of calculating, right? What's my pace? What's my fuel looking like? There's more to it than just driving fast. And I think that also adds to it, right? You know, you gotta make sure you get the weather right. You gotta make sure you get the tire right. I don't know what team you're driving for, Justin. I assume you are one of the drivers in the chat. And if not, well, good to have you as a spectator. But you have definitely probably also noticed that the conditions have changed a fair bit. And you're gonna be feeling exactly, you know, like, is it ready? Are we able to go into wets or dries, depending on if it's clearing up or getting wetter? At some point, you gotta make the call. Oh, not this race. All right, right. Is anybody you're cheering for specifically? Assume you have some friends in the race, or maybe you're just a big fan of FRL. Or a fan of me. You know, that works too. Judging by the name, you are obviously also from the Netherlands, or at least something like that. But also just a friendly reminder, well, who am I? My name is Rick Popken. I go by the in-game name as Ricky, but, well, let me interrupt myself because Tuska's made a big mistake. And yeah, eventually Zakdal, well, it's going to give him that position again, but that is going to be quite the change-up right there. Look at this now. Close by is Merton trying to go down. You know, I'll introduce myself later. This is more important. The BMWs are side by side coming into the corner. And Merton gets the better of it. He is now leading. He was P5, and he has now made his way by both of the drivers, with Taska making the biggest mistakes of them. Is now finding himself behind the 2 drivers that he was ahead of a little bit earlier on. And that means that we have a new top 3 to 5. And that is going to be quite the spectacular outcome. Yeah, it's good to see you here, my friend. Yeah, as I was saying, my name is Ricky. And I run RDC Broadcasting. The logo's in the top right. You might have seen me on the FRL mics before, but I mainly dip into Counter-Strike. And, well, I also am a presenter at car shows for the people that go to those. To automotive, I've done quite a few shows. TT Assen, Breda Airport, Rotterdam Ahoy. So if you ever see me there, I did the drift shows at Rotterdam Ahoy last year. It was an amazing experience. Did commentating on the FRL versus Vesta Sport on Red Bull Ring. I did do that one. Yes, that is correct. But that was quite a while ago. I did do that one. Indeed, I remember that was pretty fun. I always like when you have these, these teams kind of facing off versus each other. It's a very different approach, of course. You know, it reminds me of those good old times in Mario Kart and Wreckfest where, you know, you had kind of teams. You were just trying to make the most out of it, helping each other whenever you can. Obviously, this is way more serious than that here. Martignoni coming in, drive through. Was likely going straight back onto the track, but it's going to cost him time. Tasca has managed to close that gap. Martinini is looking to defend this position off right now. Tasca would love to win this. He's definitely alongside there, so now is entitled to the space, but he's obviously going to be at the outside line, so good luck coming by right there. Just doesn't seem to be happening right now. Now, it doesn't really seem like the weather wants to clear up as fast as I thought it would, so it looks like we're going to be stuck here in the rain. Now, also something that I've always found very fun is that FRL actually likes to use the IRL weather report. Because I'm not sure what the weather is in Imola right now, but could very well be raining outside. If you look outside your window, you happen to live in Imola. Martinini leads over Tasca. Alex Sakdal just looking to stay with him, trying to stay in that slipstream, but obviously he's way further back. Benjamin Eck still leading the race, but the gap has been shortened by about 10 seconds here, so he's not having the greatest of stints right now. Or maybe this guy was just having a stellar performance right now. What is right today? Well, that most definitely isn't in-game. Although it seems to be clearing up. We've come from a very wet track to a damp one. The weather was dry today, but end of service day that people want a spicier endurance season. Well, they're getting exactly that, so they shouldn't be complaining by any means, right? And you know, Tom, then again, you know, I'm from the Netherlands, you're from Belgium. Feels like it rains there more often than it doesn't, so in that sense, it's not too different. You know, I remember when I first started doing ACC comms, that was, I believe, oh, what was the season? I don't even remember, but it was very long ago, about 2 years. And I remember that they did races with absolutely crazy weather where we go from wet to dry like 3 times the race in 60 minutes. It was so incredibly fun, but so incredibly challenging, to the point where eventually they had to tone that down because there were newer people joining in and they couldn't handle the weather at all. You could double P8. 7.5 seconds from work, was currently doing quite well in the Flyby Esports McLaren. I must say, the McLarens, I think they just look absolutely stunning. Takes a little bit of curb, just like the other drivers. Something we see quite often. And now once again the pit seems to be opening. Van Lugens coming back out. We see Calgary getting out of the into the car, with Breton now leaving it for most likely the last stint of the race. Jonathan Solling has jumped into the the Mercedes AMG to go for what appears to be his last stint of the race. Interestingly enough, Mouton's just been able to hold on to P3, and he's now finding himself just in clean air. 5.5 seconds to the driver behind. Michael looks nice, but drives and sounds like a vacuum cleaner. You know, I haven't driven quite a few cars in this game, so I actually only used to play regular Assetto Corsa, where I played modded with, you know, so that wasn't really comparable. Did a tiny bit of ACC, where I mainly dabbled about in the boat MW, which wasn't the greatest of experience, not going to lie to you. And recently joined iRacing, where I'm finding myself driving in the 296, but most likely changing that up, as I've been wanting to try the new addition to the game, the Acura. Absolutely think that car looks lovely, and obviously the NSX is a beautiful car that we know as the Honda NSX in the European GT3 field. It's a car that I've seen IRL. That was in Hockenheim. I remember I went there. Awesome experience, man. These cars are awesome, and now they're going to be at Zandvoort too in a couple months, so I can't wait to see how that's going to go. Tempelko Klashkev still doing well. Schiebel is ahead of him, and it's Hoffman behind, who's in a different split. Of course, the leader of split 2. Hoffman's currently having quite the stint so far. Awesome to see, really. That's real nice. I mean, to be honest, I find all these GT3 cars amazing, but I usually drive the Merc in ACC. Yeah, the Merc is also a beautiful car. I'm using the Merc GT4 in iRacing right now. I have to say, it just feels so nice. Like, despite its obviously lack of downforce, considering that, well, after all, it is going to be a GT4 car, so can't really expect much else. But it's just such an awesome car to have. I wish they had the Alpine. I would have loved to drive that. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing that soon, but yeah. It is, if I recall correctly, it's in the second weekend of May that we see the GT World Challenge coming down, together with the GT2 European Series and the GT4 European Series. And also the GB3 Championship, which is basically like British F3, so quite an awesome calendar, I have to say. Lewis Robinson takes over from Schiebel. But we see more drivers coming in here. Mayatini's into the pits, interestingly enough. So is Tasca going to stay out now? Or is he also going to be following along? I wonder. He's actually stayed out for this lap, but is he going to come in later? I see some other drivers going by now, so it might very well be. We need to see that change up a little bit later on. I guess we're going to find out. Anything can still happen, of course. An hour to go, roughly. Probably be there also. Yeah, I mean, I live basically 10 minutes away from TT Assen, so I'm usually found there, but for the bigger events, I'll be at Zandvoort too. I went there for the DNRT Endurance, which was the first event of the year, because, well, nothing else was on. I was like, let's go, you know, let's just see what they have. And I just booked the tickets for the... I mean, I didn't book them yet, but I've just decided to go to the Voyage races too. For Fiesta Sprint Cup, MX-5s. Some more fun stuffs all along. Now, Nico doubles is in P6, but he finds himself with a 30-second stop and go penalty. It's a very harsh penalty to be giving out. And that is going to cost him quite a bit of time, because it means he needs to drive into the pits, needs to stand there for 30 seconds, can't do anything to the car in the meanwhile, and then needs to drive out again. So it is a drive through with 30 extra seconds plus starting and stopping the car essentially. He's going to be serving it now, and that's going to do him no good. Going to mean that a lot of drivers goes by, and he was P8 right before, so let's see how it's going to be going. I've been a lot at Assen as well. Assen's an awesome track, but it just doesn't really compare skill-wise, right? I mean, Zandvoort's got everything going for them. It has better on-track overtaking. It has, you know, better elevation. The banking's really cool. A better environment, I'd say, too. Like, yeah, you don't really have much to look at, you know, at TT Assen. It's just the track, and then there's just grass fields around it and all that kind of thing. So, in that sense, I definitely prioritize Zandvoort. I think it's a better track. I live in Friesland. I mean, I don't live in Friesland. I live very near by Assen. But I actually used to work in Appelscha for a couple years. I worked at the theme park as like a side job. Yeah, but not around the circuit. Exactly, right? And that's, I think, something that Zandvoort is going for them, right? You have the dunes to look at. You can make a whole lap. I mean, you could do a lap around the circuit at Assen too, but there's just not as much to see. It's just a tiny bit of forest and mainly some fields by farmers, you know. Close to Harlingen. Ah, right. So you're a little bit further up there. Yeah, for me, it's actually particularly great because I can just, you know, get on my bike right now and I'd be at the circuit in 10 minutes, which is pretty awesome. And Appelscha is a tinier place, but obviously it is quite tourist friendly. See Davy Hill coming into the pits, or currently standing there at least, so it means that Leon Krant moves up into P20. Dobbs already finding himself now with, well, still the stop and go 30 apparently. This down to P9 already, so it's going to be falling off quite far now, which is a shame considering there's only 60 minutes left to go in the race here, but we do see the race leader coming in. Guides is nowhere close for now. He's still over a minute away, so assuming that he's going to have to pit one more time, I don't think it's going to be such a spectacular race all the way towards the end, but he's trying to just keep things clean, as a P2 would be a massive result, that is. This is very nice. One of my friends actually lives in Witten. That's like the town where all the TT campings are. And oh, Zenski's made contact with Tasca. And they have both had to go into the sand. That's going to cost them time. And also, well, they're now involved with more traffic. Yeah, Manuelsen is just thinking, well, what do I do now? Wozinski's actually been able to go clear. Yeah, we'll see now. Anastasiing in the car. It's 3 different drivers. I mean, actually, Tasca's still in the car, but I guess he'll go soon. But as I was going to say, one of my friends lives in the town of Witten, which is where all the TT campings are. So for him, it's literally like a 5-minute walk to the circuit even. And that, to me, is just amazing, you know. But as for TT Assen, I'm there quite often because, you know, I might as well. It's just cheap or free entertainment the majority of the days. I actually had the pleasure of doing some car shows there too. You know, done some drag racing, stood on the main straight, guiding the cars when to go, or with a microphone in my hand. It's pretty awesome. And on top of that, to make it even better, you know, there's quite a few free events, you know, smaller events that for me are totally worth going to. Because, you know, in the end of the day, it's free and I get to go somewhere. You know, spend a couple hours there. It's what I quite usually do, you know. Like, even things like track days are incredibly fun to go to, you know. Because if you are so close by, it's just a day of free entertainment, right? So, even if, you know, it's ACNN driving there, you have the Citroen C1 Cup. Like, that's still a lot of fun, you know. Board with Nicola Laita. Finding himself currently kind of in no man's land. 4 seconds ahead, or actually 5 seconds and 6.5 behind. Trying to just keep things clean all the way through here, making sure you don't make any big mistakes. Now that time is going to be running out. Also closer would have done that already. I mean, the houses are cheap in Assen, so you can always make your way over if you want to. Yeah, but we have a lot of good stuff too. Now, actually, yesterday I found out that the TT also rally that they have, so I believe it's called the Jax International Drenthe Rally, actually cancelled. They're not going to be doing it anymore, which is quite a shame. Yeah, all the other smaller events, I mean, I'm glad to go to them, you know. Jax Racing Days come along nicely. That's a free big event. Of that one, we have some German car races, the Bach Classic GP. All the good stuff. So I'm very much excited to go back at it. Everything in motorsports is fun. Also MotoGP. Yeah, I'm actually, as weird as it is, I love watching MotoGP, but I just cannot justify going to the MotoGP like ever, you know. It's absolutely mental how quick they're going. And my granddad actually used to do a little bit of motorcycle racing himself back in the day at Zijspan. But, you know, it's just... It doesn't really click for me, you know. I think I'm more of a car guy than I am a racing guy, if that makes sense. Although I do definitely enjoy them both, especially together, right? Just seeing those cars being pushed to their absolute limits, looking at the limits of physics, even. It's quite awesome. Ooh, Burakovsky's come to a stop. Gets the car going again. Yeah, but obviously we've only got 2 big events still. Jax Racing Day in August, and then the finale races in October, which is actually a combo event with American Sunday. Event that I've been presenting myself. So I get to go for free, and actually I get paid to be there, so it doesn't get any greater than that, really. I also saw the crash at TT with those motors where a driver died. Yeah, I mean, there's so many incidents. Every time I look at, for example, the Isle of Man TT. Like, that is just crazy, isn't it? Like, that's absolutely mental. Like 2012-ish or 2014. Yeah, I was only 10 years old by then. Benjamin X still leading. Gap big enough, 48 seconds here. Trying to go all the way through here. The first corner. Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, I heard the story about the drivers that are in the Isle of Man TT. Every time they go in a tent, they wish their family goodbye, knowing that it could very well be the last time that they see them. Which is just absolutely mental, you know, but it's a big tradition there. And for them, it's absolutely worth it. It's definitely one of those events that I do want to experience once in my life, you know. Now follow MotoGP, yeah, me neither. Come to see those battles just crazy on too. But yeah, I watched the full race of it was at Circuit Bugatti de Mons. And honestly, I was surprised how good it was. I mean, obviously my granddad watches them quite often. But you know, they're definitely a different kind of crazy in the head. This is Kenneth Race, a driver that has been with FRL for quite a while in those special events, representing the Astro team. Quite a few out there we do see. And look at just how many different drivers we have in now. Timothy is in, but also Zach McMahon now in the Astro Racing car. So they have an American on the team now. Interesting as that is. I mean, I was convinced it was a full Benelux team. At least back in the day, it seems like they've either expanded or I remember it wrongly. Like my man currently keeping up with the pace. I mean, he's got 1.5 minutes behind him, so it's not going to be worried per se, I think. Blue flags are out everywhere. No big battles happening anymore. This is Vinny Crest now. He broke Boy's car. Sotnik currently, Matas Sotnik in the 28th position. So basically smack dab in the middle by the beginning of it, but with all these disconnects, not so much anymore. We've seen a fair share of DNFs all the way through, looking at the entry list, that is. But I'm sure that we, at this point, are all very much committed to making it to the finish. This is Castagnoli, P14. Doubles with another drive-through. Now, it's quite a shame that we're seeing Dobos pick up another drive-through here. They're definitely throwing away some positions now. Let's look at this. Mikos is going to move up into the top 9 then, with him now passing. And I don't think they have to pit another time. That is where things get a little bit difficult. Yeah, Dobos just gonna be kicking himself after that one, but in the end, all is good. Moves up, moves down rather, I should say. Okay, Gartby here in P11 right now, representing FRL. Thomas Taskadan still P5, and oh, look at that, Wilczynski trying to keep the car going the right way. Just a little bit worrisome. Now we see more drama. We see that it's a 4-6-3. And once again, it seems to be Burakovsky going slowly. Let's see if we can still catch that on the replay. seems to be doing well. There it is. Spins out. Yeah, small mistake. Was able to keep the car going again then. Doubles on his own. Not that I'm aware of, but he's signed up with someone at least, but he seems to be doing quite a few stints now in a row. As you can see, Doubles is together with someone, but I haven't seen Dreher on the track at all. So I'm assuming that he's just doing either a double stint or perhaps even a triple stint. Here we see some flashing. Retro not happy. But Commons made his way by, and it looks like the Vivid Global Racing driver has somehow managed to piss up Jacob Brurother. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not, but he seems to be very dissatisfied with how it went down in here. We just missed it, unfortunately. So far, no more position changes around here. Welcome, by the way. Trey, yeah, I saw him driving. Yeah, I haven't seen him driving that much, but I know we were on auto cam a little bit before this, because I know that Chrome Decks, Christian did the first couple stints. I think he did 2 hours of comms perhaps, and then we had basically silence all the way through this. Right, joined down around 6. And Mickey Taylor's picked up a drive-through. Positions already weren't that great, but that's definitely not going to be helping. Now he's a minute clear, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But still does hurt a little bit. We once again see that it is the American driver to make a mistake. Burkowski once again just not really having the greatest of stints. So what's happened this time around then? Let's watch it together in the replay. Oh, yep, just loses the back end. By the way, thank you for the iRacing things. It's going to be a challenge. Especially considering it's multi-class, so we all know how multi-class races go. And we're back into the action. Vivid Global Racing, still P21 for now. There's Jan Barf, Astro Racing Team Retro. We're not seeing much action here on track. Everybody's kind of slowed down. The last actually has just lost 1 position here and is now losing a couple more. It's Prowl that went right by. But now it's all back to gaps that are 2.5 seconds long. Xperian Prowl moves up to P7 here with Lysing still P3 and this man, Milwazinski, in P4, the pole. Would love to get a podium out of this, but he'd have to catch up, and it's 8 seconds by now. So once Tyson's gotten clear, he's managed to break that gap, and he's just been able to stay there. What a shame, really. Looks like Emil's gonna stay here for a little bit here. Tasca still chasing, 3 seconds behind. It looks like it's actually going to stop raining towards the end. You know, with 40 seconds on the clock here, this is now feeling like that final bit of push that you need to do. Lewis Robinson has just made his way in. Obviously, you would absolutely love to get closer up to Leita right now, and he's doing exactly that. The gap is roughly a second. Robinson looking to come up closer. Doesn't seem to be closing the gap right now. The gap's staying roughly equal. There's still enough time left here. Let's see how that's going to be going then. 40 minutes left. Now, is there anyone you guys want to pay some more attention to? I mean, up until now, it seems like Robinson has closed that gap, so keep watching. But if you guys have any special requests, or your favorite drivers, or maybe even a driver you wish was there. Ooh, there is Leite sliding all the way in. He's slow now. Maybe that's where you can put it alongside, and I think that might have been a mistake. That's going to cost him. And no more contact. That's once again the same Lamborghini, I'm afraid. Yep, it's Burakovsky. What's happened to him then? So he wasn't involved in that battle. There, yeah. Ooh, Benjamin Eck almost getting involved into that. Race leader. Could have spun around right there. Pascal now, it's got the gap back down to half a second. Not necessarily enough to attack, but getting a little bit closer up. Hey Iceborne, how's it going, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Perhaps some more action soon. I wonder how this is planned exactly, but it seemed like he has the pace now. Wilczynski's still trying to get back the position that he gained a little bit earlier. It's not happening. Here's Andre Byron then. 3 seconds behind Castagnoli. At the moment seems to be doing quite well. 3 seconds here. Rodriguez is going to be making his way by. Burakovsky was once again come in. Now I am most definitely wondering how things will be looking. Just at the end of the race here, I mean, the time is ticking away. I'm afraid it's still P23. Let's go Rodriguez. It seems like we have a fan. Let's have a look then at how he's doing. Well, the Portuguese drivers on the grid. The Portuguese team always doing well. Rodriguez just doesn't seem to have the pace right now to really close the gap to anyone, but he's also really safe. And Burakovsky's up ahead next, and he's been making some mistakes left, right, and center. Kind of race now close by. Istomin doesn't really seem to have the same pace right now. Barris finds himself in a 5-second penalty again. So they're getting there. Now we're getting pretty close to the end of the race now. Merck, that's a very difficult car. Well, you're driving it, so I assume you know all about it. Tell me about it, really, because I haven't really tried it. It's still raining. But in roughly 20 minutes, it's going to be dry. But I don't think that's enough to swap tires. And there's the mistake from Istomin. Is going to give him that position. Oi, oi, oi. Never a good look, really. Yellow flags are out again. What has happened then? It's been cleared, but it's happened in the bottom right there. So it's the 159 that we saw. That is actually considered Rodriguez. Well, I want to have a look at it now. What has happened then? Maybe you guys jinxed him in the chat, you know? I'm blaming you. Yeah, got onto the sand. All is good. Jan Barf tries going up the inside here, and it just doesn't seem like he can make that corner. He touches the grass and gets spun around because of it. And that's a shame. Definitely could have been better. Able to continue his way though. Here we have Sulling very close by Sauvage, and that's actually for position here. Obviously Sauvage is in a different split, but you know, I don't think Sulling can get that move on. It definitely feels like they have a chance here. He's pretty close by. It's the closest gap between drivers. We did see McMahon go by later because Leita's back in the pits. That point, I'm not seeing much changes here. Robinson still chasing. 5.5 seconds away from Baran, but Baran's actually closing up to Castagnoli right now, who has a slight bit of bodywork damage, but I think it's going to be almost impossible to feel that out, so I'm not too worried about that one per se. Maybe I should be. Are we going to be seeing much of a shake-up here then towards the end? Seems like some of these battles are done. And you know, it always amazes me how at the end of such a long race, the drivers all manage to somehow be so close together. Just really impressive, I think. This is Lewis Robinson. Getting a little bit closer now. Tysing's in the way, but obviously Tysing is also a way faster driver right now, so I'm not expecting that to be much of an issue. Actually, if anything, you can try and keep up with him. Maybe try and copy his lines or utilize that slipstream nicely. We're okay. Rodriguez was just practicing the celebration. Very important. So after finishing an endurance race, it is mandatory to do some donuts. And actually, I think you should be penalized if you don't do it. Doubles finds himself in P10 despite all those penalties. He's actually still doing quite okay. It's just awesome to see. Doesn't really seem like there's much movement at the moment. Chibaras still P23. Actually, Stalling has managed to catch up to Savage still. Still not by. Also now we see Mickey Taylor definitely getting away. Seems to be closing the gap to Guru pretty nicely, but that gap is just way too big right now. Here's Matosotnik. Needs to get out of the way for guys here. That's racing 617. Let's have a look. From France, we see Roman Oslai in the car. It comes currently ahead in the Vivid Global Racing car. Fighting a definitely, you know, very different fight. Let's just say that. Manosklai still trying to see if he can get any closer, you know, just get up to someone, but the gap ahead is 1.5 minutes, so the chances of that happening are very slim. So he's mainly worried about keeping Cheshire behind him. He's on 18 seconds as I'm saying this. And obviously in the final 10 minutes it's going to stop raining, but it will be too late to really swap over to the dry tires. Even if the conditions were slightly favoring it, just got to tough it out, I feel like. Unless, of course, you're getting Lando Norris in Russia. Was it Russia back then? I don't even remember. I think it was Russia. I have the memory of a goldfish here. Gotta be honest. Here's Tom Curtin in the car for Astro Racing Team Retro from Ireland. Currently doing well. We have another spinner. This time around it's the 44. 44 driver. That is the car of Sulling, and he's teleported back to the pits. Please don't tell me you're giving up now. Oh, he was already back in there. He was already there 30 seconds ago. Driver's behind, also touching. Look at that. And is his car just completely damaged? He's come to a stop now, and then he decided to teleport back. Makes me think that they have a technical issue of some sort. Otherwise, this is not where you park. And I think they've then decided, you know what, we're going back to the pits. But let's just hope that that's not the end of the race right there. So little time left. Gore's made a mistake and is now off into the grass. So we're back again into a replay. He was actually attacking Taylor right there. So close by to Taylor. And then just completely misses his brake point. Our engine died. Oh, no, you're kidding, Alan. I assume you are with Sulling, right, in the 44. Shame, really, mate. Ooh, that is one driver going quite wide. That's Proud. That's not what you want to be seeing. Tom Curtin now into chase, but it's actually chasing Artur Stati right now. Who's in P16 in the 555 Pro car. Foga Motorsport. Yeah, 44, that's what I assumed. Shame, mate. You're still going to be able to get it back out, or... So I just saw that Christian Lorca's passed you guys. Oh, more drivers going off there. Just not a good look, is it? Yeah, eventually he's able to rejoin, but Stobos making a small mistake. Here's Giuseppe Castellano for Vesta Sport. I've actually done a clan war versus them, or can you even call it that? Yeah, we're having the same problem with our Merc. Oh, not good, guys. Hope the car can keep going. That's just got the gap down to Tyson to 2 seconds for that final podium spot. It feels like, you know, Guides has got the gap down to 37. It would still be, you know, more than a second per minute he'd need to gain. Lap time's currently around 140, so like 2 seconds at a minimum plus getting paused. It's not going to be pretty. Track is getting damp and the rain's getting lighter and lighter. Staddy's lost the position out to Tom Curtin, who's made his way by cleanly. You're hoping it lasts to the end. Ooh, well, it's going to be close. 25 minutes. Let's see if you can do this, guys. We'll be awesome to see you guys finish. I see that something is back on track. You're obviously talking about the Mercedes where it's currently Rodriguez behind the wheel, the 159. Engine in orange. Well, that's never a good sign, really. How does it even happen? Is it early downshifts or what's going on? Yeah, I guess you guys are experiencing a lack of power now. And then Palmer's back into it. Riga's still holding on nicely. I mean, obviously, Barras now still got to serve that 5-second penalty or just kind of accept it that it's going to be added to the total race time. Wouldn't be a big deal for them anyways. As long as they can keep that gap down. Tachkov maybe can gain 7 seconds and then they're in a little bit of trouble. This man's still leading. Benjamin Eck for Formula Racing League together with Thomas Knoppek, looking to drive this car to victory. A very damp Imola still. See, no one's going to be daring to go on the dry tires yet. The downshift looks like the Mercedes has engine issues. Quite a shame. Yeah, I mean, rev damage is not great, let me tell you that much. At least you can't really money shift, assuming that most of the drivers are, I hope, on pedal shift, I should say. Yeah, time's running out here. 20 minutes to go. 20 seconds, maybe a little bit optimistic, Ricky. Gotta stay awake. It's weird. I've only had a 2-hour casting shift, and yet I'm feeling like I've done more than these drivers. But no, massive disrespect to everyone still driving. We've still got 37 drivers. Actually, some of them still battling. It's Vinny Kress now. And Guar RRT looking to get up close. The Mustang is definitely the car you want for this on the straight. You know, it's going right now. Still orange. Yeah, take it careful, yeah. I mean, you should be fine, yeah. And once again, the yellow is out for the 296. 296, that is. That is Ronovic made a mistake. FRL car. Not what you want to be seeing. What's happening? This is all looking good. Is it on the curb? Well, it seems to upset the car quite a little bit. He's pushing hard, but nothing over the edge. And oh, there's the contact. Yeah, it's just got punted into the wall by the Lamborghini. Is that Boriskovsky was got involved? I think so. Boriskovsky's had a nightmare stint, it feels like. Definitely not the end result that he was hoping for. You know, things seem to be settling for now. The other American driver, Zach McMahon, is having a much more stable stint. He doesn't seem to be making many mistakes. Driving around doesn't seem to have the pace to really attack anyone. 9 seconds ahead of him is Staddy. Maybe that's possible. Teska's caught up again with the BMW M4 GT3. Let's stay aboard a little bit here. Does Teska have the pace to try and make his way around then? Yeah, within 10 minutes, it's guaranteed dry. It's going to be, I think, a little bit more than 5 minutes, but yeah, it's still not going to dry up in time, I think, for anything to really be impacted. But obviously, you're monitoring it, right? The gap is small. You can tell me. You just gotta make sure that you don't over rev the car. That's all. Just don't do it too aggressively. You're gonna be fine. Once again, the yellow tints out on some of the drivers, but I think all is okay. Gap is 0.1. This is for P3 in the race. After 8 hours and 40 minutes, these two are yet to be separated. Yeah, he's giving some good advice. They're side by side, but Tyson still has that edge. No opportunity just yet here. Oh, there's one driver facing the wrong way. And Wilsinski not able to keep up the pace. These two still going at it, however. Let's do a poll in the chat right now. Do you guys think it's going to be Tyson or Tascan that gets the best of this? Side by side again. The inside line covered wisely by the German. He gives a small little bump out. Tascan now doesn't have that sweet spot in terms of, you know, run on, but he's gonna get closer and closer by. Drive through for Tom Curtin in the meanwhile. So late onto the race, and that's a shame. We've just got 15 minutes remaining here of the 9 hours of Imola. The start of the endurance calendar here. That's so far been absolutely spectacular. So far they're able to, you know, get the back markers out of the way. It's good to see really that they've been given the space and the room to fight. Ricky Taylor driver up next. And Natasca would love to just dive somewhere to the inside, but he can't risk breaking the car, can't risk causing an accident. But you still need to find a way. Because we did a 3-hour endurance at the Nordschleife, but we didn't have this problem with the Merc. Yeah, but that's a very different track though. Plus 3 hours compared to 9 hours, there is quite the difference. Plus I guess the rain is also playing a big part into it, right? Definitely affecting how the car should be driven. Tyson covers the inside nicely and just no space for the switcheroo. So once again, just a repetition of last round where he gets a small bump. He's able to stay ahead now. I started the heavy engine rolling in 1.5 hours. Hasn't been raining the entire time then. I, to be honest, haven't really seen much of the start there. Was busy laying in bed and sleeping mainly. Zach McMahon still out there, P17. Look at that. They're once again side by side here. Tysing's once again covering the inside. He is just putting up a defending masterclass right now. But the exit is really good from the Aston Martin. And he's looking to pull alongside. Tysing is squeezing him all the way. And around the outside, he once again is able to cut back onto the racing line. But now the exit's a little bit worse. Tasca very much side by side now, coming into the right-hander. You'd like to think Tysing's got it, but no, he breaks a little bit earlier. And that means that's going to be Thomas Tasca moving up to P3. And now needs to maintain his position for 13 more minutes while they drive towards the end. Now Thomas has that edge. He now has the advantage of just needing to defend, but obviously coming onto the main straight, you know that slipstream's taking a big part. Thomas Tasca actually seems to be clear from Tyson for the time being. See any more battles here? McMahon is closing the gap to Staddy right now and actually seems to be a fair bit quicker. Arthur Staddy looking to hold on in the last 10 minutes, of course. Been there, done that, no worries. Yeah, I mean, there are some things, of course, that all the drivers find themselves doing, I suppose. Interesting enough, Tasca's actually driving away from Tysing right now. Benjamin Eck goes by. Gap is still 33 minutes, so it might just be enough here for Brendan Guides to accept that he's going to be P2. And that's a big mistake happens by Benjamin Eck, but I know Benjamin Eck quite well, and he doesn't usually do that unless provoked. Here goes holding on nicely. Prowls actually come in now towards the end. Maybe a drive-through. Actually, I wasn't paying attention. I don't think so, at least. So, they do lose out on that P8 now. The yellow flags are out for the 617, who has spun around by the looks of it. I can't seem to find the 617 quickly. So I wonder where he is. It was Roman Oslight. Made a small mistake. Our team mains 296 in the Mustang. Two complete polar opposite cars. Obviously now a dry line very much forming, as you can see. It stopped raining. But I assume the rain tires are very much still on. It's gonna feel grip-wise pretty strangely, I suppose. Merc more stable. Yeah, that also makes a lot of sense, to be honest. The Merc is, as far as I know, quite stable. Not quite as planted as the 296. Dicing stays P4. Besides, P7 still. Oh yeah, that's a little bit dangerous there. Don't want to be playing those games with such a big Mustang, especially not now. Are we going to be seeing anything more, I wonder? By the looks of it, not really. Maybe that will come soon, though. That P17. Seven minutes, that's all that's left. It seems to be a steady finish for the majority of the drivers here. There's once again had to come in and is now going to join back. Vivid Global Racing Car, Florian Sidecom still going at it, but he eats quite a little bit of curb there. It's maybe not the best of luck. It's not so far, but Kenneth Racing also goes by Brurater, who is currently on his way out of the pits, but he's gonna obviously get up to space way earlier. Now we'll be gaining that position all the way towards the end there, so that's nice. Sides here. 0.7. That is going to be 5 minutes left to go here. Zeitz has a little bit out there. 0.1 maybe going side by side towards the end then. Lassa's looking to get by. Let's see if he can do it in the end. We're also close by to Robinson now, so we are getting some battles all the way towards the end there. Berna trying to get close by here. Oh, they all go off at once. Robinson, Baran, they were fighting for position. I think there was also Tyson involved in there, so that's not a good look per se. All the way towards the end. And then it looks like the order one won't really change that much. Actually, Robinson's just lost the position now. They're rather close by to Kenneth race. Let's see if we can catch him all the way through this. 3 minutes left to go. That's roughly 2 laps here. That's all they're gonna be getting. There he goes then. Down the inside, manages to make it work nicely. Good move, clean move at that. Ooh, Nicola Leita spots a bad exit. Man defends the inside immediately. Is he by already? Well, not quite, but looks like the position will still be gained. Now you wonder what you can do still. Time might be ticking away soon, and looks like we're gonna have 37 drivers finishing in the end. Probably are looking to get by. The Lasses was currently being held up by slower drivers, allowing for the gap to diminish. There's basically nothing left at this point. And well, now the question is, how do you get around this? They're side by side, but they're stuck behind backmarkers, and it looks like this one McLaren, yeah, he's gone off now, but oh, that's so messy. And Prowl picks up a drive-through on the way out, so that is now on the last lap. He finds himself in a drive-through. Does he still need to surf that? I don't think so. But oh man, that hurts. Yeah, there's just no time for it. Ooh, big incident there. Oh my. That was not exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, that is all a great way to enter. This is where it happened, and oh yeah, big incident. Multiple cars involved all the way in the last couple laps. Yeah, it just happens, right? But it's still not good. There it is. Call's been made. Leaders on the final lap right now. So close to finishing. So close to taking P1. Renegades is on 35 seconds right now, so he's not going to be able to contest for this, I'm afraid. That is going to be time now up. And here comes Benjamin Eck to take a victory at the 9 hours of IMOLA. Alexa comes in third, meaning it's just a matter of waiting for Brendan Guides here. The only driver that's actually going to make it on the same lap as Benjamin Eck right here. Alexa P3, Tyson P4. Then we have Zaid, Prowl, Wilczynski now in the pits. And the losses in P9. And here comes Brendan Guides then for the last time. What a race it has been, ladies and gentlemen. It's been awesome being back on the server, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have. What a race it has been. Him with Wilczynski and P7 is going to be a little bit disappointed there, because that could have been so much better. It's a well-deserved victory here for Benjamin Eck and Thomas Knoppek. Congratulations, massive congratulations to anyone surviving. 9 hours is a challenge, and that is never to be underestimated here. So let me take you through the order one more time. Benjamin Eck first, Guide second, Tasca third, Tyson. Now Wilczynski, the driver we're currently watching, then Zaid, Prowl, Delasses, Dobos, Mikos, Melke Gardby, Castellano, Baron, Robinson, Castagnoli, Leita, Buckman, Staddy, Bertin, Sadicum, Brorater, Race, Slashkov, Barras, Barf, Cheshire, Oslai, Sotnik, Burakovsky, Rodriguez, Zoranovic, Taylor, Kress, Gur, Savage, Janakari, and Saling. Congratulations to you and your teammates for making it through to the end. You guys have truly done amazing. You guys are rock stars, man. It's just a matter of waiting for the last drivers to finish. Here they come then. There he goes, Zoranovic, meaning there's only one driver still out there who's driving. That's Wilczynski. Time is up already. And yeah, it's a combination of, you know, extremely difficult track conditions together with sheer willpower. 2 or 3 drivers per team that have all done an amazing job together. And the car is holding on just nice. That's the end of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure providing the commentary for you. Big shout out to FRL for getting me on there. It's very much appreciated, and I love you all. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Wish you guys a very pleasant rest of your day. We've got 6 hours of Indianapolis coming up next. And I hope to see you guys there. My name is Ricky from RDC Broadcasting. It's been a pleasure being here. I hope to be back next time if you guys allow me to. It would be awesome. Make sure you leave a like on this video and make sure that you subscribe to the Formula Racing League YouTube channel. And for now, I wish you guys a very pleasant rest of your day. See you guys later.